Amazing, amazing, my friends. Welcome to all of you once again, and I'm so excited to have all of you here for this special YouTube live session. So, think about something like you are a parent, you are a mentor, or a teacher, and you see a teenager struggling with self doubt, unsure of themselves in this fast paced world. You want to help those kids or those children to build their confidence, but you are unsure how to guide them in a way that truly sticks. So but today we are going to dive into exactly in this topic, and the topic is, I'm sure that all of you know, that the role of positive reinforcement in teenage development. It's a topic that's so important as teenage navigate their emotional and mental growth. So, and today we have the perfect guest with us, Sangeeta Puri, an extraordinary life coach with years of experience in guiding individuals towards a personal transformation. So, Sangeeta ji will share her wisdom on how positive reinforcement can be the key to helping teenagers thrive, build confidence, and strengthen their sense of self worth. So I encourage all of you to stay tuned till the end, because this is going to be a value packed session, and you also will have the opportunity to ask your questions live with the guest speaker. So this is the opportunity, rare people get this opportunity to connect with her live. So it's with you today. So we'll just go ahead, and I'll hand over the stage to her. But before that, as our ritual, that let me give some introduction, or just to you know let me tell you something about her, right? So Sangeeta Puri, uh, she is on a mission to redefine the way we nurture our teenagers. Sangeeta is dedicated to creating a society where trust, respect, empathy, and positive reinforcement are at the forefront of every interaction with our youth. She's not just a life coach, she's a visionary who empowers parents, teachers, and guardians to become role models, guiding teenagers toward a future full of potential. And Sangeeta's journey is actually one of the extraordinary resilience. And today, she's here to share her insights on building stronger, healthier relationships with your teenagers, to handle them, right? So, without any delay, let me call her on the stage. And if you're excited, just type welcome, Sangeeta ji. And Sangeeta ji will be talking to you for next 30 to 35 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A. So, okay, without any delay, Sangeeta ji, over to you. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you so much for such a wonderful welcome and lovely introduction. Um, I'm humbled. Thank you. So, dear audience, as Prashant just mentioned, I have over actually 25 years of work experience in corporates as an educator, career counselor, and life coach. And I work in the area of teen parenting. And my mission is to redefine the way we nurture our teenagers. I see that today our teenagers they have a lot of potential. They can really do wonders in their life, but we need to really reinforce that, and we can only do it with positive reinforcement and be at the and bring them at the forefront of our interaction and guide our teenagers towards a future full of potential. So today we are going to talk about positive reinforcement, which I believe is a very effective method in parenting teenagers. So if you're a parent, teacher, educator, and if you're looking to foster a strong and healthy relationship with your teenager, then positive reinforcement can help you reshape your interactions, improve relationships, improve behavior, build trust, with the teenager in your life. So that is what the topic is all about. And I'll just briefly talk about it as to what is positive reinforcement, how can it help. So we'll get started on this. So positive reinforcement, it means basically, rewarding or encouraging certain behaviors to increase the likelihood that they will happen again. And it is proven to be effective than punishment in changing behavior, especially for teenagers. So what we, let's say that your teen has been struggling to complete homework on time, or unable to complete the tasks that you give them. So instead of scolding our teenagers, scolding them for not doing it, how can we positively motivate them to complete their work, to complete their task, or take on the responsibility and bring it to its end? And that is what positive reinforcement is. So for example, as I just mentioned, suppose your teenager hasn't been able to do it. So instead of scolding, you could probably offer praise and acknowledge when they do it. So when they haven't done, please don't scold them. But when they do it, offer them acknowledgement. Give them praise for what they have done. Something even as simple as, I really appreciate how you're taking responsibility with homework, can go a long way. Or maybe, you can notice if they're doing something different, something complete doing on their own without being asked. So acknowledge them by saying that how much their efforts mean to the family, or once in a while reward them with something meaningful, a bit extra time. So this is what positive reinforcement is, that instead of punishing them, instead of scolding them, instead of not instead of putting them down and lowering the self-esteem, we can we can enhance their confidence, bring up their self-esteem by positively motivating our teenagers. So that is what it is. Because when we punish somebody, so be it anybody, and a child, especially a teenager who is in the developmental stages, they often experience lower self-esteem and more behavioral issues. Now, why positive reinforcement works for teenagers? So, as I just mentioned, that teenagers are in a developmental stage where they crave independence but also need affirmation. Positive reinforcement, it helps to satisfy that need for validation, allowing them to feel recognized without feeling controlled. When a child does something good, they really look for appreciation, they look for validation, they want the adults to recognize something good that they've done. And if they don't get it, they feel they feel discouraged. And if they receive it, their self-esteem, then they feel encouraged, they feel motivated. And teens are developing their identity. They're in that phase, in that stage of developing their identity. They're highly sensitive to how adults perceive them. So positive reinforcement strengthens their sense of self-worth, hence boosting their confidence. Now, just to add to it, I'll give you an example. Like, imagine your teenager helps a friend who's struggling with a project. And if you reinforce that behavior by saying, that was really nice of you to support your friend. So that way, what do? You validate what they've done, and you encourage empathy and emotional intelligence. So when they see somebody in need, they know that they can empathize with that person. They develop, they become emotionally strong. So while IQ is important, even EQ is important. We all know that. So developing that emotional intelligence is very important. And that starts at a very young age. So that's how positive reinforcement can help build emotional intelligence there as well. Another thing is positive reinforcement also helps in relationship building. In fact, um, you can say it is a basis of a relationship building because with positive reinforcement, we build trust between you and, like, you can build trust between you and your team. So instead of the relationship revolving around conflict, it becomes one where the team feels supported. So suppose they have not done what you asked to do, or they have not behaved in the manner that you expected them to behave in. So what do? We reprimand, we punish, we could even ground them. So something like this will only make the child more rebellious, and it'll lead to further conflicts. So, and then the relationship will revolve around conflict. It becomes one where the child feels that, okay, he feels alienated, he feels he can't trust. So to be able to inculcate that trust, we have to make sure that we talk in terms of we talk positively to our teenagers. So that is what positive reinforcement is, and that is when the child feels supported. When they feel supported, they are more likely to open up to you and share their challenges. So just to elaborate on this, I'll say that let's take a scenario of a teenager who doesn't want to be a part of family gatherings or dinners, which is very common these days. Every time, we often hear parents saying that he doesn't go to family gatherings, he doesn't attend any function, he or she doesn't attend any functions, they're mostly locked up in their room, or they want to go with their friends. So, this is a very common complaint I hear most of the time, a lot from parents. And that is, now what do we do about it? They don't want to, they are not going because they feel more connected with their peers, with their friends. And when this happens, it upsets parents. And when parents are upset, what do? We either, we scold them, we uh, we curfew them, we take away something that is important to them, or maybe cut down on their favorite activity. But what and where does it lead? It leads to further them not doing what we expected them to do because they rebel. They develop resentment towards the parents. And that leads to conflicts. But as per positive reinforcement, so instead of grounding or punishing them, we acknowledge when they make the effort or choice to join us or spend family time. So maybe 10 times you've asked the child to join for any such kind event, and out of 10, the child joins us for one. So if that one time that happens, so we should be able to acknowledge that time, that one instance. We can tell them that it means a lot to have you here tonight. Thank you. And over time, when this happens, if you do it once, the child feels good. There is an emotional connect. The child will, make an effort to do it again. And over time, this builds a sense of belonging rather than resentment, because punishment will only make them resentful, as I just said. It gives fuel to those feelings. Punishment only gives fuel to feeling of resentful, resentment, rebellious. We don't want that anger. So why should we give them that opportunity? Why should we give them the fuel to those feelings? And we don't want that. So rather use positive reinforcement. Don't think about the 9 times the child hasn't attended the event or what you wanted the child to do. think of the one time that he did it, he or she did it, and acknowledge that, praise that, let them feel good about it. And that is when the teen starts connecting to you or starts making changes in their behavior. That is what is positive reinforcement. Now, in our day to day life, we can apply positive reinforcement in our day to day situations. Simple things. We can be, for positive in our daily life with teenagers, we can be mindful of how we engaged with them. It's not just so positive reinforcement is not just about handing out rewards or praise. It's about being specific with what you praise. So let they should feel that what you're saying is what the parents are saying is very genuine. Um, Instead of saying good job or so be specific. Instead of saying good job or well done, make your appreciation acknowledgement specific. Like for example, if you if you notice that your child has started following a timetable for studies. So what do? You don't have to get after the child to be able to tell them sit down to study. What time will you study? Uh, you haven't really studied during the whole day, and you notice that the child is himself or herself organizing their study time. Now, when you notice something like this, what do? You say you can tell them that I noticed you organized your study time really well today. That's a great habit. This helps your team understand exactly what behavior you're reinforcing. So many a times we're not very clear with what we're expecting from them. But something like this tells them that so my this makes my parent happy. Or this will something like this when I do and I'm taking responsibility, my parent feels good about it. And this helps them understand the behavior you're reinforcing. Or many times when you see a teen managing their time between school, sports, social life, and prioritizing their responsibilities, reinforce it with that I'm impressed with how you balance everything today. That shows real maturity. So this encourages continued effort from the side of the teenager, from the child, and more from the side of the parent. Because when the parents make this continued effort of reinforcing positive behavior, then over time the child starts changing himself or herself as per, because they're saying they like to be, they want to be appreciated, they want to be recognized, and they it makes them happy, it makes them feel more stable. So definitely their behavior will change, and it does change. So but it happens over time. So this when you do this, it encourages continued effort. Another thing that one needs to keep in mind is that timely reinforcement is important. It's important to give feedback right after the behavior occurs. So, this connects the reward or reinforcement directly with the action. If a teenager has displayed a positive behavior, we should recognize it immediately. So, like if your teen if your teen helps clean up after a family dinner, or if you have guests at home and your teenager helps you during that period, so what happens, you should thank them immediately. You could, in a simple sentence like, thanks for helping out, it really made my work easier, or with your help we could finish the work faster. So all these things, it has to be immediately, it has to be done immediately, because waiting too long can lessen the impact. Suppose you say thank you the next day, what happens? The child, that, that need of receiving acknowledgement has, it was not fulfilled at that time. So that time has passed, so the impact will lessen. It won't be the same as what it would have been when the reinforcement had come immediately after the action or the positive behavior. So these are some things that we just keep in mind. We just have to be, as parents, as teachers, and guardians, we just have to be very mindful of these things. We have to be cognizant of the fact what are teenagers, they're going through, where they're going through a developmental phase, hormonal changes, they will have their mood swings, they have, societal pressure that they're going through. In the midst of it all, how can you support them? And through positive reinforcement, you can beautifully support the teenager. Another thing that we need to keep in mind is that this reinforcement, it is tempting to sometimes reinforce or reward behavior with material things like gifts or a little extra pocket money, so something like that. But teenagers often value experiences and verbal acknowledgement. They often value that more. So, and we must stay away from material things. It should, the reinforcement, for reinforcement we should use non-material rewards. For example, if a teenager reduces the screen, we all know teens these days, the screen time is a big issue with parents these days, because with the access to technology and everything, and also the school pressure, the work, things done over the internet, over phones. So screen time has increased considerably, and this being a tug of war at most houses where you have teenagers. So, for instance, if a teenager reduces their screen time, what parents can give them, in exchange for it, and if parents, as parents, we notice that our teenagers has been see has reduced the screen time, spending more time in other activities. So we can appreciate that. We can give them, we can ask them that, okay, hey, that you've reduced your screen time, so let's look at some outing. Let's plan a weekend family outing, and you can give the privileges, like you, as a, you plan, you do what you can, plan whatever you want to, and as a parent you can say, hey, you've done a great job managing your screen time, so let's spend the weekend doing something fun together. You can choose what we do, so whatever you choose, we'll do that. So that is the kind of non-material rewards or experiences that we should offer our teenagers, or our children. And this creates a positive association with limiting screen time of, so this is a very tangible reward, and it creates that positive association, so they will keep it in mind that, okay, when I reduce the screen time, this is how it happened, we had such a wonderful experience. So this, and it encourages the teens, to see the benefits of spending less time on the devices, and as they gain control over enjoyable screen-free experiences, because they plan what they want to do, where they want to go, how they want to spend that time. So it is, they have control over that, and this time is screen-free. It's a different experience, which does give joy and happiness to them. And of course, as a family, it's a different experience altogether. So we let's be cognizant of these things, and which go a long way in changing behavior. Another point that comes to mind is that, we often see No, we expect, and especially um, in our society, we really focus on scores, grades. We expect our children to get A++ in everything. So let us, and when they don't achieve it, we are we feel that, oh, they've let us down or they've not worked enough, whereas that's not true. As parents we should encourage effort, not just result. Effort should also be encouraged, and teenagers get discouraged if they think success is only measured by outcomes. Reinforcing effort encourages a growth mindset, which is key for long term success. So if your teen has studied hard but didn't get the grade they hoped for, or practiced a sport but couldn't make it to the team, so how do many parents react? We tell them that, hey, you should have put in more effort, or wish you could have got better grades or better college. Whereas what you should say is, I'm proud of the effort that you've put into studying or practicing your game, and that's what really matters. And I know you'll keep improving. And I can tell you this from my personal experience. So when my child had got into, and so we all learn from our own experience, no? So my child had got into a college through an entrance exam, and that was the second best college that we were looking at, and he was elated. We went through the system, the results were displayed, and we were going through the, and his name popped out, and he we were elated. He was really happy to have been able to make it. And what did I do? I said, I wish you had got a little more percentage or a little more marks, and you could have got into the best college. That's what I did. And immediately his expressions changed, and I realized that, what have I done? I spoiled that moment for him. And then any amount of you know any amount of encouragement, saying that, hey, I'm very happy you did it, it mattered. Those few words mattered, and I made it a point to never ever do it again. So we learn from our mistakes. So I'll just say this right now, that we all should also be very cognizant of the fact that we don't do it. We encourage the effort they've put in, we encourage what they've achieved, and we appreciate that. So that's very important. So while positive reinforcement is powerful, I will say that there are some common mistakes also that we make and we should avoid. And one of the common mistakes when we talk of positive reinforcement, you know, we feel that, hey, praising helps. So let's praise them for everything. So I have parents I interact with. So sometime back, a parent called me and they said, I don't know what to do, or how to manage my child. I said, you don't have to manage your child. And they said that I'm so friendly with my child. I praise him for everything that he does. I give him any amount of money that he needs to go out, or spend on things that he needs. But he doesn't he's not he doesn't feel that that is important, or he doesn't feel that. And that is the mistake we do. We overpraise, we overdo at times. So praising every little thing can reduce the impact of your words. So teens are sharp. They'll pick up on when praise is insincere, or when you just praise for the sake of praising. So as I had mentioned earlier, they be specific for what you're reinforcing, for what you're acknowledging, and not just praise for the sake of it, or appreciate for the sake of it. Another thing is being inconsistent. So parents often, basically teens need to trust that good behavior will be consistently recognized. So if you acknowledge or reinforce randomly, they might feel confused about what's expected. So if so you please so we have to be aware, mindful that we are consistent in recognizing good behavior. We are so in our house, if somebody does even the smallest of things, or helps, or if my child used to help me, I would say thank you, that's just so nice of you, you have helped me. I or when they would when we would sit and talk for some time and share things. So that time was very valuable, very important to all of us. And I always made it a point to acknowledge, and I would say thank you. It was so wonderful talking, or it was so wonderful sharing. I really appreciate it when you take out this time and we can sit down and talk. So these things go a long way. So we have to be very consistent with what we are doing. Another thing that comes to my mind is basically bribery versus reinforcement. I'll just talk very briefly about it. So what happens is, uh, sometimes we turn positive reinforcement into bribery, and for that we need to be very mindful, because reinforcement is about rewarding good behavior, not offering rewards before the behavior in an attempt to get them to act a certain way. So that is the difference between reinforcement and bribery versus bribery. Um, if we For reinforcement, we so anytime, you don't have to say that, hey, if you do this, I will give you this, or if you finish your work, or if you get good grades, then you'll probably get your PlayStation or your game or anything like that. No, that is bribery. We don't have to do that. We just need to reinforce positive behavior, so to encourage the likelihood of that behavior to happen again. And that is what positive reinforcement is. So that's what I would like to talk about. And then we need to manage the mood swings. How do we manage homework struggles? I'll just give you a little example. That suppose your teen is reluctant to do their homework. So instead of saying, "Why can't you just finish it?" Try. I know you've been working hard in school today, or you when you came from school you were very tired. How about we take a break and then work on this together? I'll help you get started. This is positive reinforcement. Instead of saying that, why can't you finish it? Why are you lazy? Why are you not able to do your work? Every few days, this happens to you. You're reluctant to do your homework. That will only lead to the, the teen, feeling discouraged, feeling demotivated, and not doing these things. And that will only lead to conflict. So, just an example that came to my mind, I thought I'll just share it. Um, Another thing that comes to my mind is about, you can think of another scenario. Probably I'll just share one or two scenarios with you, just to for you to be able to get a better understanding of positive reinforcement. So for example, you're 16-year-old. If he he's had a bad day at school, or your teenager has had a bad day at school, or had a bad day with friends, and and when they come home, they just they say something nasty, or they're rude to you, or they're so many a times, they're angry. In their anger, they will not, or they respond to your question with anger. So use reinforcement when they calm down. So instead of responding with anger, just keep quiet for the time being and let the child calm down and then use reinforcement. So you can just say that I appreciate how you took some time to cool off or before talking to me now. And I was waiting for you to cool down so that we can talk. And that's it's a nice. I know you were upset, and that's why you said this to me. But let's try to be mature and just be a little mindful of what we are saying, and that's it. That should just make the child understand that what they did was wrong. So don't make them feel wrong. Don't make them feel that they have done something bad, but make them realize that their behavior was wrong. It was not appreciated. It could have been better, and something like this will help the teenager, the child, change their behavior over a period of time and move towards positive behavior. So this is what I will say, and my view on positive reinforcement. Uh, Prashant, if you feel I'm done here, if you think you have any questions or anybody in the audience has any questions, I would love to take these questions and answer them. Hello, Prashant.
Hi, Sangeeta ji. Wonderful, wonderful job done. Thank you so much for sharing these insights. I'm sure people who are connected here, friends, please let us know how the session is going. What have you learned in the session? And I'm really honored to have you in the session. It's a great learning. So, but in between, we got a question from Gitika ji.
Okay.
Praising them a lot, doesn't it make them too dependent on praise?
Okay, so I just mentioned earlier that we don't have to overpraise them. We have to be cognizant of the fact that what are they doing, realize, and then accordingly praise them. So, and if you are if you're praising for every little thing, then of course your words will not have impact. It will reduce. Overpraising will reduce the impact of your words because they're sharp. They'll pick up that you're praising for every little thing. But when you feel that they're doing something which you haven't asked them to do, which you were expecting them to do, or you have been saying that, for example, your teenager doesn't tidy up their room or their study table, and you tell them repeatedly that um, clean, safai kar do, tidy up your room. Why don't you do it? And they don't listen to you. And one day you notice that they have done it themselves. That is the time you should praise them. You should say that, hey, it is. I'm happy that you have, I'm really happy to see that you've tidied up your room. I feel that, you are becoming very responsible. So something like this this is a positive reinforcement, and that will really have a positive effect.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gitika ji, for this question, and Sangeeta ji for the answer. So I hope that Gitika ji that answers your question. Please let us know. And with this, we had Tamanna. Uh, she said, very true. How I wish other family members would appreciate such little good behaviors by teen too, and not just the mother.
Could you repeat the question, please?
How I wish other family members would appreciate such little good behaviors by teen too, and not just the mother.
Yeah, so this is applicable to anybody and everybody who has a teenager in their life. So it could be mother, it could be other family members, and that is what the awareness that I really want to create. And I would appreciate it if we all work in this area, then we create this awareness that everybody should, support. We need to support our teenagers. We need to help them, and help them grow in a very positive manner. And every member needs to understand. So I would really like it, Tanmana, if you could bring other, or if you could share this live session with this video with others, and maybe next time bring them with you. It'll be really happy. I'll be really happy to have the questions also.
Thank you. And thank you, Tamanji. Thank you, Tamanaji, for contributing here. And thank you, Sangeeta ji, once again for acknowledging. So then I've got a question here. So friends, you can ask your questions as we are live now. The Q&A session is open, so you can ask your questions. And meanwhile, I have received some questions. So okay, so with your permission, can I ask these questions?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay. So the first question is, how does positive reinforcement impact a teenager's self-esteem?
Okay, so positive reinforcement is basically to act, is the act of encouraging desired behaviors. Okay, and when we encourage the desired behavior, and we acknowledge for everything uh, positive that they are doing when they occur, it leads to a teenager feeling confident about it, confident of themselves, that hey, this is what I've done, which is good, and which was even acknowledged by my parents or by the adults in our life, because they look for validation from
Right.
adults. They look for affirmations from adults that hey, they've done something good. So it strengthens a teenager's self-esteem by affirming their efforts and accomplishments. And the societal pressure for perfection can be overwhelming. In a society, we really want everybody to be perfect. And in this kind of scenario, reinforcing the efforts rather than just the results helps teenagers develop confidence and self-esteem.
Right.
I'll
Thank
just
you.
give you an example. For example, a teen uh, a teenager doesn't score well in an exam despite studying hard, and instead of focusing on the marks, the parent could say, I saw how much effort you put into preparing. Keep that up, and the results will follow. I'm proud of how dedicated you've been, preparing for your exams. So this helps the teen value effort, which boosts their self-confidence. And just think, when we tell a teenager that why couldn't you do better? I'm sure you didn't study well. That's why you didn't get good marks. So we're just focusing on the result. And what does it, just lowers their morale. It lowers their self confidence. So that is how positive reinforcement helps teenagers develop confidence and self esteem.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now, as we are talking about this positive reinforcement, so I've got a question here. Like this positive reinforcement, does it work for teenagers who are even more rebellious or disobedient?
Yes, it does. It does. Positive reinforcement can be effective even with rebellious teenagers, because it focuses on acknowledging the good behavior, and and when it happens, rather than dwelling on negative behavior. And over time, this approach fosters better behavior patterns. So when, if we are constantly telling a child or dwelling on the fact that you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you were rude, you didn't speak well, you did not study, so what happens, we are focusing on negative behavior, and that's what we are promoting. Whereas if among all of that there is even one thing good that the child has done or teenager has done, in and we acknowledge that, with a simple thing. I appreciate that I gave that example of tidying up their room. And if the child has done it without asking, so instead of mentioning how many times it was missed in the past, a parent could say, I appreciate that you took the time to tidy up your room today without being reminded. And I love to see you becoming so responsible. And this encourages the teen to repeat the positive behavior again. Because deep down, everybody wants validation, everybody wants praise, they want to be recognized. And when we recognize positive behavior, a rebel can also be changed, but it just takes it happens over time. This approach fosters behavior patterns.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for clearing this doubt. So, with this, I've got a question here. Like, what are some non material ways to apply this positive reinforcement?
So, as I mentioned earlier also that we should focus on non-material ways to positive reinforcement. So non-material reinforcement focuses on praise, encouragement, or privileges rather than tangible rewards like money or gifts or things like that. Because this method, non-tangible, it helps teens develop intrinsic motivation rather than something expecting something physical in return for a good behavior. So they are internally motivated when they get this. And so for a teenager who's been constantly helping out with some responsibilities, the the parent could just give them that experience or give them that praise and just say that you've been so helpful this week. Let's take some time off. Let's go for a outing. Let's go for a movie. Wherever you want to go, let's go and have ice cream. So this rewards behavior with quality time, and which is a non-material reinforcement.
Right.
And I can tell you, teenagers value this. They do value it.
Wonderful. So, there is another question, but that is related to like academic performance. But you recently talked about it. So, the question is like, how does this positive reinforcement help in academic performance? So, might be the person was not here. So, if you can just talk about it
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will. So, positive reinforcement encourages, consistent effort and a positive attitude towards learning, which improves academic performance over time. So, as I mentioned that in India, where academic pressure is high, positive reinforcement can reduce stress and motivate students to focus on learning rather than just scores. I'll give you a very small example that there is so much of pressure on students here that every child wants, every parent will expect that. I'm sorry to say every parent, but yeah, most parents, they want their children to get okay 99%, 98% engineering. So there is a change now. Parents are becoming aware, which is very nice, but still a large part of our population still expects this. So in a situation like this, a, you know academic pressure is high, so positive um, so a teenager improves their performance in a subject they struggled with. And positive reinforcement can help them motivate towards learning. So whatever they've done, whether they have got 90% or 80% or 70%, if you just praise what they've done or they've done something real, they've done well in a subject that they were not good at, so that can promote the child to focus on it, to learn, to do better, and that's how it can improve academic performance learnings.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. So, like we are talking about parents about here. So, what about teachers, like when teachers are there, and how can they use positive reinforcement with teenagers in classrooms? So are there like some techniques or something for them they can apply?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Parents and then teachers play a great role in molding or development of children and teenagers specifically, because teenagers require a little more of our interaction, the way we interact with them, the way we motivate them. So teachers can use positive reinforcement. They can acknowledge the efforts of the teenagers, of their students in the class. They can acknowledge when their participation or improvement in behavior. This creates a very supportive and motivating learning environment, and it also reduces anxiety associated with failure. So, like, you can just suppose there is a student in class who stays quiet, who doesn't participate, or who doesn't say anything. And we always have such students in class. So, in that situation, if that student starts participating, or starts answering maybe out of 10 one question, or raises their hand once in a while, the teacher can always apply positive reinforcement here. They can just say that, I'm really impressed with your participation today, keep it up. It's really nice to good, great to hear your thoughts. I'm so happy to see you participating. And this encourages the student to continue engaging, to participating, and it in turn boosts their confidence, their self-esteem. So that's how educators and teachers can support teenagers, specifically in the classroom.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I got a question here from uh, not from India. So I can't type questions. Might be there is a reason. So
Mhm.
if, I'll send it here. How can be a positive reinforcement be effective with a hyperactive child that needs more attention?
Okay, with a hyperactive child that needs more attention. So we, in a situation where so as I said earlier, we engage more with the child. We can encourage the child to engage in activities like physical activity, because they need to expend their energy. So physical activities, engage them in sports, see what are their hobbies, what are the things that they're good at. Maybe the child is good at a sport. So try to get them and encourage the child to that hey, you're so good at the sport. I've not seen many people doing it, and you have a natural knack for it. Why don't we look at some coaching or some institute where you can go and practice every day? So we engage the child through positive reinforcement rather than saying that you're not doing anything, or there is so much of time that you're wasting, or you're really creating ruckus during in the house, so you go out and play. No, positively encourage the child, positively reinforce whatever is good in them, identify the areas that are really positive, that they're doing well, and then reinforce on those areas and engage the child accordingly.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. So actually, I'm getting questions, so I'm just replying them in between. So thank you so much once again. And with this, okay, so I'm sure that you've got your answer. Please confirm that. Yes, listening to us, that's okay, that's good. So just let us know if you got the answer. Thank you. Yeah, so I've got the reply. Thank you so much. It's very helpful. Thank you. And to you, Sangeeta ji.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so thank you, my friend, for asking this question, and Sangeeta ji for answering this. With this, I have another question, and how can we use, or a parent or teacher or like any elder can help the teenager to like he can use positive reinforcement to encourage better social behavior in teenagers.
Absolutely. We can really foster um, social behavior in teenagers through positive reinforcement. Um, I'll, I'll, I'll give you an example for this. So, suppose a teenager um, ha- uh, helps somebody, helps their friend complete a project, or helps them help this sibling, maybe a younger sibling, do some work or help them around the house. We should always recognize this kind of behavior and reinforce it positively, because this kind of behavior will, you know it'll reinforce kindness, empathy, you know it'll teach them how they can interact socially with others. And you simply, it's a simple thing saying that it's so wonderful how you have helped your friend. I was very happy to see that you have helped your friend with the project. Or it's wonderful how you help your sister with her studies or with her work. And this shows real empathy and responsibility. And these, starting from family to friends and to further, it it leads to a better social behavior. And it positively, you can reinforce social behavior through these actions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much once again. So we have Akansha Mahajan, and she's saying hi to you. Hi, Sangeeta ji.
Hey, how are you?
So, friends, once again, just a reminder that you can ask questions here, and this is an opportunity for you to ask questions live with Sangeeta ji. It's a rare opportunity that you get this chance, right? So, with this, let's move ahead. And the next question is like, how can like this positive reinforcement help teens with time management?
This is very important, because that is that's an area where they do struggle with, and we can help them. So positive reinforcement can help teens. They can learn how to manage their time effectively if we reward them when they prioritize their responsibilities. Um, so suppose a teenager plans their day to, they plan their day to finish both school work, their other activities, or even support a bit in the household chores. So the parent can say, I noticed you finished your work and managed to help around the house also. That's great time management. I'm really happy. Very well done. So this, it makes them feel that they have an ability to organize and balance tasks, and which in turn can, reinforce this sense of time management in them. And over it, and then they'll start doing so anything. So good behavior, so this is what they manage the time well. They've taken some responsibilities, they've finished all their work, and they could only do it because they manage the time well. So when you recognize that, it'll reinforce that behavior again. They'll do it again. So this is how it helps in time management.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you so much for this. And with this, we have a question from Akanksha ji. So, Akanksha ji is asking, can positive reinforcement help teenagers in develop better communication skills?
Yes, it does help them develop better communication skills. And communications, it encourages open communication by creating a positive feedback loop, I will say. So when they receive positive reinforcement, ch- our teenagers, they feel heard and valued. So anything good they do, any good behavior they display, they are that behavior is reinforced by the parent or anybody elder in the adult in their life. when they hear when they hear about it and when they get positive feedback about that behavior, they feel heard and validated. And when they feel heard and validated, they're more likely to express their feelings and concerns. They'll open up about their feelings and concerns, which will lead to better communication between the parents and the teenagers or the family members. It will lead to better communication. So, they'll be able to share their struggles with the parent. And sometimes when a teenager shares these things with their parents, instead of offering advice immediately, if the parent can say, I really appreciate your honesty, or I'm really grateful that you're sharing this with me and I'm here to support you. So this is a positive reinforcement that I appreciate your honesty, or I really appreciate you sharing this with me and I'm here to support you. This reinforces the behavior of communicating openly because the child is confident. And
Wonderful.
that's how we can encourage communication skills.
Thank you. So, Akansha, I'm sure that that answers your question. Please let us know. Thank you so much, Akansha, for asking this question, and Sangeeta ji for answering. So, with this, I want to ask one more. I have two, three questions only, and that's it. So, friends, so once again, if you have more questions, you can ask. So, but it's a great opportunity. It might be that the question you will ask could be the question for somebody else, right? So, Akansha got her answer. Thank you, Sangeeta ji.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. And the next, which I want to ask is like, what like consistency plays a wonderful role in many areas. So, but when it comes to positive reinforcement for teens, does it play any role?
Yes. So, see, our teenagers are going through a phase wherein there is, as I said, they're confused about things, a few things. They are in a phase where they're sometimes they're told that हम often we hear in our families कहते हैं इतने बड़े हो गए हो ये भी नहीं आता और अभी तो बच्चे हो you can't do this. So our teenagers, they don't know, they're very confused. And in a situation like this, we have to be consistent with our positive reinforcement, in
Right.
the sense, uh, teens need to know that their efforts will be regularly acknowledged, which helps build habits and a sense of reliability. We all know that to build habits, we have to be consistent. All of us know this. So if we want to build a habit of good behavior, or if we want to, help them come out of certain things, then we need to be consistent in our positive reinforcement, because that will only help them build that habits. So, if a parent consistently praises their teen for helping out with family responsibilities or managing their studies, the teen will start to associate these behaviors with positive outcomes, making it more likely that they will continue doing it because they also want positive reinforcement. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So that's how consistency in positive reinforcement helps teenagers.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. So, with this, we have a question from Tamanna Sachdeva. Tamanna ji is asking, can positive reinforcement be used to reduce screen time for teens?
Helps to reduce, sorry,
Screen
screen
time.
time. Oh yes, positive reinforcement can help to reduce screen time because, and we all know that screen time is the
Biggest
biggest
challenge for them.
concern, biggest challenge of our parents today, of our
Right.
parents, everybody. It's even with elders, screen time really takes away a lot of our time, and the teenagers, we need them to really spend time in their studies and other things, activities. So positive reinforcement can help reduce screen time, so if we reward them for engaging in other activities like studies, hobbies, or family interactions, if we give them positive reinforcement, so whenever we see that a parent notices that the teenager has spent time reading or pursuing a hobby instead of being glued to the screen, they can say that, I've noticed that you spend less time on your phone, and I really like the art that you have done, or the the poem that you've written, or you spend time reading, and I'm really proud how you're managing your time. So this validates the teen's efforts and encourages balance. So see, the thing is that we all have this challenge of screen managing the screen time. And as a teenager who is itself going through confusions and validations and stuff like that, if they are making an effort, and if we acknowledge that slightest smallest of effort, then it will help in reducing screen time, because they would want to do things or activities or hobbies for which, one, they had probably not they had stopped doing because they were busy with their phones or other activities. And uh, when they made an effort due to um, repeated efforts of their parents or elders in the family, and when they make that effort and we recognize those efforts and reinforce it, it will help reduce screen time, definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much once again. So, Tamanna ji, I'm sure that asks that answers your question. Please let us know if you want to ask more, or you want a clarification on this. And I have only two more questions, right? So,
Yes,
anything like parents and teens or teachers, sorry, parents and teachers can work together to create a positive reinforcement environment for teens. Like usually when they go usually parents have parents teacher meetings. So can they like plan something for the teens, like for their children, when they get a feedback, okay, like this thing is happening, so can they plan something together to create an environment that will actually bring this enforcement into them?
definitely. And I think that would be very helpful. Parents and teachers or educators can collaborate and work in together. And
Right.
if they collaborate and work together, it will be very helpful for the teenager, because they're getting the same responses, same environment at both the places. So there is no contradiction. And when there is no contradiction, the positive reinforcement is always better, because it is more effective. So it is a very good way of taking care of our teenagers, and guiding them into the right direction through empathy, through able to help them achieve their what they want in life without belittling them, or through positive reinforcement, basically.
Or they both can plan like, okay, if this thing happens, the child behaves in this way, so you can handle this way, and it will be like
So
whatever you want to implement in them, so they will do it.
okay. So what we can do, what they can do as parents and teachers is, so this collaboration mostly happens specifically if there is some issue, or if there is some area that is concerning the parents and the teachers. Yeah, basically that is when they and they can agree that, okay, if this is the way the child or the teenager is behaving or is doing things, then probably as a teacher, from I can look at it from this perspective, and as a parent you can look at it from that perspective, and together we can work towards have helping our teenager grow into a confident human being and to go and guide them towards the right direction.
Right. Amazing. So, friends, again, you can, if you have a teacher, like you feel that you can talk to him or her about your child, and you both can work together to actually to work for the betterment for your child. And even a teacher wants that the student who's studying under him or her, or getting the guidance, that children should go higher. So the teacher, I'm sure, would agree with you. So you both can just go for it and see the result. Okay. So it's a wonderful idea that you both can collaborate and work together. So thank you so much, Sangeeta ji, for this. So my last question of the session is, any final tip for the people who are watching us now and who will be watching us later, because this video will be there forever. So any final tip you want to give to them?
I would just like to say that as parents, as teachers, as guardians, we just be responsible and we encourage positive reinforcement for our teenagers, because see, positive reinforcement encourages responsible decision making, which is the key to fostering independence. And we want, as parents, when parents, teachers, guardians, we acknowledge and reward good choices, our teenagers feel empowered to take control of their life, their
Mhm.
lives. And when they feel empowered to take control of their life, they will definitely this reinforces their initiative and independence, and they will definitely move in the direction that we all want our teenagers to grow up into. So just focus on that, and um, I will just say that one more thing that I really would want to everybody to say, that it has been proven, it has been there in stats. There are numbers which say that about 80% of teenagers who receive basically positive reinforcement, they are and they receive consistent positive reinforcement, they're more likely to develop self confidence. And
Right.
they're found and then it is found that teens who experience this kind of positive reinforcement from parents, they improve in academic performance compared to those who are primarily criticized. So let's not criticize our teenagers. Give them that confidence. Engage in open communication with them, and just reinforce them in every possible way. Keep motivating them, and this will really, really help your teenager. So whether you're a parent, teenager, guardian, just remember that positive reinforcement can transform your relationship with the teenager in your life. And by encouraging the behavior you want to see and providing them with the supportive environment, you'll not only help them grow, but also build a lasting bond of trust and respect. So that is my words to you. And if you found this session helpful, you can leave your questions and comments, and I'd love to hear your experience with positive reinforcement. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Wonderful. And with this, we have got the answer. We got a comment from Tamanna ji. Got my answer. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Sangeeta ji. You are bringing real transformation. I'm really happy to see that. Thank you so much. And friends, with this, we are coming to the end of this incredible session. And I want to extend my deepest gratitude to each one of you for joining us today. It's been a truly enlightening discussion on the role of like positive reinforcement in teenage development. And I hope that you are leaving with valuable insights and practical strategies to support the teens in your life. A huge thank you to our wonderful guest, Sangeeta Puri, for sharing her wisdom, experience, and actionable advice. So, Sangeeta ji, your expertise in helping teenagers grow, with confidence and emotional strength through positive reinforcement is actually, truly inspiring. And I'm so grateful for your time today. And in fact, we all who all are here. So, friends, once again, like if you want to connect with Sangeeta ji, then uh, you can connect with her. Once the session will be over, then I'll mention her details in the description box, and you can connect with her directly. You can take her session. You can take her support, and I'm sure that she is the one who can actually enlighten your path, right? And can guide you actually to support your team. So feel free to rewatch this session anytime, because if you watch the session again, you actually learn something more, right? And I'm sure that it will benefit you, your family, or your friend if you share, because you can bring light into the lives of others. This is what I always like motivate others. Like you share with someone, and you never know that someone was actually into the great requirement of this, right? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more sessions like this. And just remember that this is your journey, and you can actually enlighten this for your team. Your team will remember you, like whatever you do for your team, right? And with this, thank you so much, Sangeeta ji, once again for your time, for accepting the proposal and coming here for enlightening all of us.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you for hosting me. It was a wonderful session. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
All right, so thank you once again, everyone, and let's continue to empower and uplift the next generation. And I'll see you next week with a new topic and a new speaker. Till then, stay healthy, take care, goodbye, namaste.